Yes, okay. Okay, welcome to ASHLEE MARIE. Yay, it feels like it's been a while since I've said that. So Disney World, Disney Cruise, really super sick. Chicago, I've just been traveling like crazy, which has been really, really fun, but I honestly haven't been spending a ton of time in the kitchen, so I'm excited to get back to it. So today we are making my pot of gold cake. And hello, Larry. Hello, Nazarene. Hello, Kimberly. No, it's 4:30 Mountain Time is 6:30? No, 5:30 Central Time. Yeah, I'm just late. Turns out I didn't have any black fondant, and so I had to run to the store, and by run to the store, I mean drive through a snowstorm that usually should take 20 minutes there, 20 minutes back, and it ended up taking way longer because of the snow. And so we are half an hour late getting started. I apologize. But anyway, I'm excited to make this cake today. So this is what you need for this cake. I have pre-baked 2 ball cakes. Now, when I originally made this cake, if you go over to the website, ashleemarie.com/pot-o-gold cake tutorial, I used a 6-inch ball pan. And so my final cake was like this big. It was so cute, this little pot of gold. So this time around, I decided to go with bigger because I thought it might be a little bit easier for you to follow the tutorial and see if I use bigger cakes. So these are 8-inch, half-inch cakes. And that's what we're going to get started with now. Now notice they're all wrapped in plastic. That's because after I bake my cakes, I wrap them in plastic to hold all that moisture from the steam leaving inside the cake, and I freeze it so it cools down really fast. And that makes for more moist cakes that you don't have to like add like sugar syrups and stuff like that to, which I feel like just is kind of messy. I do sometimes, but I try not to. No, just a second. So this is what the cake looks like. Let's go over to that camera shot. If I can get my laptop to work that controls everything. There we go. Okay, so this is what it looks like out of the pan. We have this beautiful ball shape, and now I'm going to cut all this mess off. So I'm going to put this down on my turntable. Let's get the other camera in to a good spot for you to see. And let's move on. Okay. Barbara, hello, the video's interrupted. Oh, that's not good. Hopefully it will come back in a second. I don't know why Facebook is interrupted. Pauline, Barbara, I do not know what's going on with Facebook today. It has been giving me so many problems. I was actually ready to go at right at like 4:35 when all of a sudden Facebook would not work. So I recommend either hopping over to YouTube where things seem to be going okay. I'm super sorry about that. So you want to use a really, really sharp serrated blade, and you want to get one that doesn't have a lot of bend into it. I have a video where I talk all about the type of cake that you want to use for cake carving and cake leveling. And I let my turntable do the work for me. What I'm going to do, and I'm right-handed, so I'm going to start this on the other side, but I'm going to show you here. I'm going to put the knife in here and then go around in a circle, marking it first, and then just keep going deeper and deeper and deeper. So because I'm going to use this other side, we'll put the camera like that. All right, now I don't want to cut too much off, so you want to be careful this first time around not to go too deep, just in case it like doesn't match up. And we're actually going to just mark it this first time around, make sure that it meets on the other side. And also when you, this part of the cake right here is nice and soft, but these edges, of course, tend to get really hard. So you want to be careful cutting through them. You don't want to be pushing so hard that you end up cutting through and like hitting your hand that you're holding the cake steady with. And the reason I know that is because I've totally done it. Okay, once you've gone around once and you have a nice line, you can see how moist this cake is getting all over my hands. Then you can go a little bit deeper. But again, we're not trying to cut straight through this first time. We're letting the turntable do a lot of the work for us. We're just kind of going a little bit deeper, little at a time. If you get like a really crunchy spot, just kind of carefully go through it a little bit. That's why we use serrated blades. Okay, there we go. Get better at this. I really wish this had a nice flat side just because it would make it easier. In fact, you know what we're going to do? Change of plans. All right. Change of plans. We're actually the cake itself is going to be all round, except the bottom we're going to have a little bit of a flatness for the pot to sit on, and the top we're going to have some flat because the top of the pot's going to be flat and have all the candy out of it. So I'm actually going to make that cut now. It'll make it easier to level that other side. Okay. Oh, I forgot to change the camera angle. All right, I'm just kind of marking evenly with this sitting nice and flat. It'll be easier for me. Whoop. And then let that do the work for us. And there we go. Okay, hands out, young lady, hands out. No, not right now, hands out. Okay, all right, that'll make this a little bit easier and more even. So it's kind of nice to see what you're doing. Is Facebook still having problems? It totally is. Okay. I'm not quite sure what's going on with Facebook. I'm not sure why Facebook. I tend to talk out loud. I talk out loud while I'm typing, so just 1 second. While Facebook isn't working, come over to YouTube. All right. That's really annoying. Okay. So we're going to keep leveling this. Hands out. This is a sharp knife. Hands out. I don't want to have to tell you that again, okay? Just keep your hands out. I have, obviously because it's a Saturday, which I don't usually film on, I have all my kids home and they're wanting to be, these ball pans are always a little bit tricky because they kind of want to wobble, so just gonna do your best. Anyway, the kids are all home, so I have helpers today who are probably going to make an appearance in the video because I'm not sure if it's because they want to help or they just want to eat all the scraps. All right, there we go. And we have a nice flat surface for working now. So I'm gonna put this aside and do the same thing to the next one. And so while I'm doing this, good evening, Vixen. Lorena, you know what? It might be because of the weather why Facebook isn't working. That's a good one. YouTube's working great. Yay. So happy for that. Are you on or not? Tammy, I am here. Okay. Let's try this one now. It's kind of the same thing. You want to go around the first time. We're just marking it. I'm going to switch to the other angle. Maybe you can see a little bit better there. So the first time around, we're just kind of marking it, holding our knife in place. You want to make sure that you're holding it even. And so by marking it the first time around, you're just going to make sure that you're meeting. And it looks like I met up to where I first started cutting. So I'm going to go a little bit deeper this time. And this is what I do, whether the cake is a ball cake or any shape, if I'm leveling it, I do this same technique of letting the turntable do a lot of the work for me. And that keeps the cake nice and even and level. I don't like using those levelers that they sell. I feel like they're a little bit too flexible. They bend a little bit too much. They're just not the best option. So how is everybody's St. Patrick's Day going? There we go. Nice, perfectly level cake. Check that out. Okay. And now we're going to we're going to clean up really fast because this makes a huge mess. All right, baby girl, will you be in charge of putting any scrap that you want to keep and eat in a bag, and everything else I'm going to throw away while I clean up the counter, okay? So move the cake a little bit out of the way and clean up all the crumbs, because when you're cake decorating, the last thing you want is to get crumbs in any frostings that you're doing. So after you do any cake carving or leveling, you want to clean your area really good. Yeah, it's always better to just take a minute and do it right than to risk getting crumbs in everything. And you will get crumbs in everything. It's just kind of a nightmare. All right, here we go. Got that? All right, and this is why I keep my garbage just right here next to my counter, so I can go sweep Get that in. All right, so I actually had to change because I wasn't wearing green. And of course, you can't make a St. Patrick's Day video and not be wearing green, right?
Yes, I'll pinch you.
Or someone will pinch me. That's right, sweetheart. I mean, I assume none of you guys would come over and pinch me, but you never know. All right. Now, whew, clean, ready to move on. So, you'll notice with ball pans, even though the pans themselves make a perfect circle, cakes tend to settle as they cool. And so when you put the two halves together, that's not a ball. I don't know about you, but that's like, I don't know, eye-shaped, not a ball. So one of the things that I've done in the past is I'll either bake another 8-inch cake layer to put in between the two, or for a really delicious treat, I'll make a cheesecake. And that is what I did this time around. So I baked a cheesecake with no crust, and I just baked it straight into a normal pan, and we're gonna put it inside the cakes. So first thing that we're going to do is add some ganache to the cake, and that is going to be our glue. It is really, really quiet today. I'm assuming everything's working because nobody over on YouTube is complaining, but you guys are kind of being quiet. No questions. I mean, I get that it's a holiday, so maybe a lot of you guys aren't on, but I'm feeling a little lonely over here. So the cake recipe is my standard chocolate cake recipe that I do all the time. The ganache recipe is also on my site. This is 2 parts chocolate to 1 part cream. All right. Now comes the fun of getting the cheesecake out. I chose not to use a springform pan simply because they're not perfectly 8 inches, and I want this to, to go right to the edge. Also, also, when you don't use a crust, that bottom corner of the cheesecake pan can cause some problems. So I did put a silicone circle at the bottom of the pan, and now I'm just scraping the sides really fast. Fingers crossed, pop right out. I let the cake cool in the pan. This is really funny. Come out, cheesecake, come out. I probably should have taken it out before it cooled all the way, because this is gonna be fun. I can like hear it wanting to separate from the pan. You gotta love when things, come on little cheesecake. Come on, little cheesecake. Yes, I talk to my food. There it goes. Just needed a little bit of break. So I have this plastic circle that we're going to peel off the bottom. And then I have this beautiful crustless cheesecake that I'm gonna add right on top of the ganache. All right, here we go. All right, and I have cheesecake all over my hands now, so I'm gonna wash real fast again. I can't tell you how many times I wash my hands every day making recipes. Okay, and now we're going to add more ganache. I'm so sorry that Facebook is not working today. I honestly, obviously don't have any sway over Facebook. There's not a lot I can do on that side of things. All right, so we're adding another layer of ganache, and now we're going to add this other layer of cake right on top of it. There we go. And that is going to help us get that great circle shape. See, that looks way better than it did without that center. So I try to make my cheesecakes about 1 inch thick. I feel like that gives it the right thing. You could even go 1.5 inches to get that perfect ball shape. All right, so now that first cut that I made is a little bit off centered. I think you can tell my cheesecake's kind of leaning. So this is why I always say when you start cutting, you want to cut a little at a time, because you can always cut more. You can't cut less. Whew, this cake is already getting heavy. All right, so this cut that I made before to be our base is not perfectly straight, so I'm gonna try to fix that now real fast. Okay, here we go. It'll look like that's even now before I start cutting away. All right. Cut a little bit more away. Hopefully this will make it sit a little bit more evenly. So ball cakes are always just a little bit of a challenge in that they don't obviously sit very well on anything. All right, that looks better. Okay, we'll flip this around. Now we have a nice flat surface. We can work on the rest of the cake. So first thing I'm going to do is we're gonna ganache the whole cake now. Let's move that over a little bit so you can see that better. All right, Tammy, thank you. Jen, thank you so much. Gretchen, glad that it looks good. So is there any question about, oh, okay, I have a horror story for you guys. You wanna hear my worst delivery story when it comes to cake decorating? Now, nowadays, I really don't do that many cakes for clients. I mostly just do them for you, my YouTube audience and Facebook and my blog and my kids. My kids pretty much get all the cakes that they want. And I don't really, sometimes I miss making cakes for clients because it's fun, but ball pan has challenges of its own. You have to cut obviously a little bit to make it flat, but if you cut too much, you go from having a nice globe cake to like, and that doesn't look great. So you want to cut less than you'd think. If you don't get it perfectly flat, like I just went to fix, that center layer right now should be like this. But before I hadn't cut that bottom flat, so it was like this. I once delivered a ball cake, and they wanted a jelly layer inside. So I had, you know, the round cake, the jelly layer, round cake, but because I hadn't gotten that bottom perfectly flat, it was just slightly tilted. And as I was delivering it and the car was shaking, those top two layers just went and fell, and I got cake and jelly and frosting all over my car. And oh, I went to go pull it out of the back seat and give it to the client, and it was just awful. The only good thing about this story is that usually I deliver cakes like right at the event. Here's the cake, it's the event, you want the cake nice and fresh. But these people had wanted a Sunday delivery, and I don't deliver on Sundays. And so I was delivering it a day early. So I went home, remade the entire cake, and delivered it on Sunday for them, obviously. Anyway, that's my worst cake delivery story. And thankfully it wasn't, you know, it was, thankfully it happened at a time that I could fix it. So challenge number 2 of a ball pan, other than getting it, you know, perfectly even without cutting off too much, is frosting it. So we're used to frosting nice straight sides. These spatulas are obviously made for straight tops, straight sides. That's easy, but round is messy. Round is hard. Round, you can't get quite perfect, but if you don't get it nice and smooth, then when you put the fondant on it, you'll have all these little, you'll be able to see all over. So my tip is to always use ganache and not buttercream. And the two reasons for that: one, once it sets, it will glue this together. So even if the center is not perfectly even, it'll be a lot stronger than using buttercream. When I remade that ball cake for the client, I did a nice thin layer of ganache first, and then I frosted buttercream all over the top of it since they wanted a buttercream cake, and it held together really nicely after that. The other nice thing about using ganache is that once it's set, again, once it's nice and hard, we'll be able to take our warm hands and just rub them over any imperfections in the ganache and smooth it out. So I actually, as much as I think ball pans are a pain, I actually have quite a few ball-shaped cakes on my website. Probably the most recent, okay, you're making a lot of noise with that. Do not open that again, okay? Thank you. You can eat after the video. The most recent was for my daughter's Star Wars party. We did a Star Killer base cake. And if any of you guys are huge Star Wars geeks like us, Star Killer base was when it was a planet, not a space station. And so it was perfectly round, and it was really big. I made, like, I want to say it was 10 inches. It was even bigger than this one. It was huge. It was so much cake. It turned out awesome, though. One of my really fun cakes to make. because I wanted it to look like a planet and cloudy, and so I added a bunch of white dye to the outside of it to make it look like it's a cloudy, snowy planet. So it's this huge cake I marbled white and gray together to kind of create this cloudy look, and then I flicked it with white food dye all over it. I was really happy with how it turned out. But it was really hard to see in the pictures in the video because it's details like that don't necessarily, that your eye can catch, but you can't necessarily catch with a camera as well. All right, so let's see. I'm almost done with this. Trying to get that bottom is always fun. I'm not going to worry too much about it because I'm going to flip this over and fix it. Just doing my best this first swipe around. Okay. There are some cake decorating supply online stores I've seen that create they have like a round shaped smoother, so you can hold it here and twist it and we'll scrape it off. But if you haven't gotten your cake perfectly round, if you haven't filled the center in perfectly, you could actually end up not having scraping off too much or scraping off near your cake, or anyway. So, all right, try to go around and catch with your eye any place where maybe it's not quite filled in. My chocolate's already starting to set. It's already starting to get a little bit harder. I'm already starting to scrape a little bit as I frost this. So, which is nice that it sets so quickly. I made the ganache this morning, so I had time to get to the perfect temperature before I even started. And I'm just kind of making sure it looks as good as possible, as round as possible, as smooth as possible. Doing it right the first time will make it easier to fix little things later. Okay, I think that's looking good. All right, so I'm going to put this aside now, and we're going to fondant. I'm gonna clean the area again because now I have chocolate and a couple more crumbs everywhere, and then we're going to roll out the black fondant. Can you put this in the sink, baby girl? Thank you. And this in the sink. Thank you. What's the point of having a helper if you don't put them to work, right? All right, I now have crumbs on my rolling pin. We don't want that either. You have a question? Yes, sweetheart. What's your question?
What do you do with all the extra ganache?
Oh, that's a great question. So Scarlett's asking me what I do with the extra ganache. I think she knows. I think she's just trying to be helpful.
No, I don't.
You really don't know?
I don't know.
Okay, so extra ganache. Ganache is awesome because you can reheat it really well. And so what I do with my extra ganache is I put it in like a gallon-sized freezer bag, and I keep it refrigerated until I'm ready to use it again. And then I'll just take out portions at a time, and I'll heat them in a double broiler slowly. You don't want to overcook your ganache. I mean, you don't want to cook it, period. You just want to re-melt it. The biggest problem with it is once you've remelted it, then you need it to cool back down to room temperature again. But it's hard to get it to this consistency through, you can't like microwave it to this consistency. You'll have chunks if you do it that way. So you want to slowly warm it all back up so it's nice and liquidy again. And then, hey, I'm filming. Shh, cut it out. It looks like your dad's on the phone for you. Okay, so let's do a close up so you can see this consistency of it. Oh, wrong camera. There we go. Here we go. Can you tell John to take the phone downstairs? This, you could actually whip it at this point too and make a nice thick whipped frosting out of it. But yeah, so does that make sense to reheat it slowly? I just put this over a pan of boiling water so that it slowly and constantly stir it, and then I'll set it aside. I'll do it in the morning, and then by the time I'm ready to make a cake in the afternoon, it's the perfect consistency to get started again. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, you love my hair. Thank you, Star, so much. Do I simple syrup my cakes? I do not. That's why I freeze my cakes as they're cooling so that I keep my cakes moist so I don't need to add simple syrup. It's kind of a mess. But you can. It's just personal preference. Okay, so now we have a nice clean surface, and I just bought myself for my Christmas present a new fondant mat, because my old one, I have a bright red one that's kind of hideous to look at, especially in video, and then I have a bright blue one that's super big and hard to work with. So I got this mat. It's like 30 by 30. It's a great size. It fits on my work surface really well, and it's clear. So yay, I'm so excited to use it. This is my first time using it. So you want to make sure everything's clean. If you've gotten crumbs on anything, you want to wipe it down. And then you want to grab some shortening. Now, there's two schools of thought when it comes to rolling out fondant. A lot of cake decorators like to cover their work surface with a mixture of cornstarch and powdered sugar and then roll it out on that like you would do with a cookie dough and flour, right? But personally, I feel like that just brings in a lot of dryness to the fondant, especially if you're working with a dark fondant like today. We're working with black because we're making a black cauldron, right? A big black pot of gold. And that powder will then show in your fondant. So if you're using white, not that big of a deal. So I'm in the other train of thought where I use shortening. So again, I always use a mat so that I can manipulate and pick up and move the fondant. And I'm covering the mat with a little bit of shortening. I've covered my rolling pin with some shortening, and I've covered my hands with some shortening because we need some shortening. So for those of you who started watching a little bit late, I went to set up for this video, and I went to grab my black fondant, and I realized I was out of black fondant. So I had to drive to the closest cake decorating supply store in a snowstorm to get this black fondant because I didn't want to, can't put off a St. Patrick's Day cake until tomorrow, right? So a brand new tub of fondant. All right, I'm gonna cut some off and we're gonna knead it. There we go. So I just use a sharp knife to cut a big block of this fondant off. Usually I use my bigger knife, but I don't know where it is and I don't have time to look for it. I think it's probably in the drying rack where my daughter did dishes for me earlier today. All right. There we go. And the rest of the fondant, oh, I totally had like my cameras wrong. I thought I was talking to you and you were looking at something super boring. Sorry about that. Oh, and you can tell it's been a while since we did a live streaming. Okay, black fondant, you want to make sure that whatever you're not using, you immediately cover back up and put in the case. No, not right now. All right, so I just cut off a little bit of this fresh fondant, and I'm going to now knead it until it's soft. Okay. Trying to catch up on some comments right now. Hillary, I don't know why it's not working. Come over to YouTube. Looks like Facebook's like not working at all, which is super frustrating. Sorry about that, guys. Nothing on my end I can do about it. It's Facebook just being Facebook. A lot of my other video friends have said that they've been struggling over there too. Thankfully, I like YouTube. Okay. Catch up. Is there any questions while I'm doing this? I have a minute to answer some questions because I don't have to pay much attention to the fondant while I'm kneading it. Yes, Scarlett, you have a question.
I forgot it.
You forgot your question. All right. Okay. Oh, I love fresh fondant. This is kneading together so beautifully. But you just want to make sure that you've kind of warmed it in your hands before you try to start rolling it out. Rolling out fondant is definitely a hard job. And so the more that you've kneaded it and gotten it kind of warmed and pliable, the easier it will be. Yes, Scarlett, do you remember your question?
Can you roll out the fondant?
No, you may not. Oh, you can help me when I'm doing the handles, okay? Does that sound like a good plan?
Sure.
Oh, I hope I cut off enough. I'm kind of out of practice. It's been a while. I've kind of been working on other stuff on the side. You're not out of practice? I'm out of practice engaging how much fondant I need is what I meant. So then every once in a while, I kind of pick it up, move it around. There we go. Keep working it. My dream. I love how my hair is totally in the way. One of my dreams is to own a fondant, now I don't remember what they're called, but it like flattens the fondant for you. You just put in a thing and it comes out. A fondant sheeter. One of my dreams is to own a fondant sheeter, but even the smallest one, nope, even the smallest one would just take up like a third of my counter. And I want to say the smallest one is like, you know, $6,000. So, eek. Not in the plan for right now. All right, so just kind of keep moving it around. You want to keep your fondant as circular as possible, because obviously we're covering a circle. We're covering something around. I tend to, looks like I'm going square on accident. Okay. Last time I made this cake, I made a little 6-inch version, and this time it's 8 inches. So it's gonna take a lot more fondant than my last one did. And I think I might not have gotten enough, but I'm going to go for it anyway and hope that I did. Okay. So I like to go about 1/4 inch thick on fondant, because that way it's still a little bit pliable. If you go too thin, like down here I went a little bit too thin, but up here it's nice and thick. All right. Move it one more time. And do one more roll. There we go. It's okay if it's a little bit too thick, because when we're putting it on the cake, it's going to stretch a little bit and pull out while we're trying to quickly get it into place. But if it's too thin, then you won't be able to, so obviously the top of a round cake is easy to cover with fondant. It's that bottom where we have to manipulate without hopefully getting any wrinkles and tears back into place. And if the fondant's thick enough, you can kind of press it back into place and it won't get wrinkles. It will just kind of thicken back up. Or if it's too thin, you'll get a lot of ripples, and we don't want that. So definitely do not want it too thin. So there we go. Okay. Oh, that's going to be really too heavy for you.
No, it's not.
I need this out of the way so I can bring the cake over.
I'll hold it.
But okay.
I can bring the cake over.
Oh, it's not that the cake's too heavy, it's that this base is super heavy, sweetheart. All right, let's move this camera a little bit to be able to see a little bit better as I work. Okay. Lorena, I do not make marshmallow fondant. I'm not a fan of marshmallow fondant. I think it is too soft, and you can always tell if a cake has been made with marshmallow fondant, so I don't use it. Okay, so we're gonna hold this above here and let it fall across, and then we're going to unpeel the fondant away. So I just start, oh honey, can you please not interrupt either? I just start on one side, and then it kind of does it on its own after that, and pull away. Put that out of the way, and then you want to work fairly quickly. Looks like I got a little off-centered as I was pulling away, so manipulate that around a little bit. Okay, make sure it's centered. So we're going to start at the top, and we're going to use our nice warm hands that are covered in shortening and don't have any crumbs on them at all. If they do have crumbs, stop, wash your hands. And we're going to start manipulating this around our ball. Now notice you can see all those like little lines where the ganache underneath wasn't perfectly smooth. The great thing about ganache is it's chocolate, so it melts. So as you rub your hand over it, it'll kind of warm a little bit and become a little bit softer, and it'll be easier to manipulate it nice and smooth. So I start at the top and I work my way around. Another reason I like the turntable is so that you can, rather than make one side perfect, you want to work your way down and around pretty evenly. So this is where, like I was talking about, if it's thick enough, you can kind of press it back into itself, work it back into itself, so you don't get, see how nicely that went? So you don't get ripples. And the reason you want to work around evenly is if I worked all the way onto both sides, and like work my way towards this side, and then I came here and I was working, all this fondant would kind of be pushed over this way, and I'd have a ton of ripples over here, which I don't want. So I work evenly as I go down and around, because we don't want any one place to be left with a ripple for too long. Keep going. Go around a little bit more. All right, once we get over halfway down, so we've kind of started to make that curve, I'm going to actually flip this over so we can keep working without having to like fight with that turntable and its size. Hey, Lindsay, Hillary, Susie, come over from Facebook to YouTube where it's actually working. I'm not quite sure why Facebook has decided not to like me today. So once I flip this over and put it on a cake plate, this is gonna be the bottom. I won't be able to, I won't flip this over again and work it again. So right now is the time to get it as smooth as possible. I'm just kind of working quickly as I go. You can see already how those lines are kind of disappearing. Okay. Oh, there's something therapeutic about this. I think this is maybe why people like men with bald heads, right? If they let you play with their bald head like this, that would be fun. Okay. So, this is the cake plate. I'm going to put my cake on, and I'm going to add a dab of ganache right into the center to help hold it into place. Now comes the fun part. We're going to try to center it. Ooh. Right. Ooh, looks like I got an air bubble in my fondant where I didn't get it quite smooth enough. Hey, baby girl.
Yeah.
Can you get me a pin really fast? Or my little, this tool, the yellow tool in here, yellow handled tool, right down in there. Okay, can you get that for me? I'm going to show you how to take care of bubbles.
Can I do it?
Okay.
Can I do it?
Nope.
Why not?
Because. All right, let's see if you guys can see this bubble. Get a little bit closer. So I've kind of worked the bubble up to the top, just in case there's any other air anywhere. So I have this bubble right here. What you want to do is take a nice sharp and thin tool, and you don't want to just poke it straight because that'll leave a big hole. You want to come at it at an angle, kind of like you're going for a vein. Hillary, you'll appreciate that one, right? And then starting away from wherever you made the hole, you want to make the hole near the edge of your bubble. Starting away from it, you want to work your way towards that hole that you made. And then because you went in sideways, it won't leave much of a mark. You can barely see that. Not bad, right? Okay, so going to find the center of my pot and put my cake plate on it. There we go. Make sure that it's nice and flat as they work. And now I'm going to, wish me luck, flip these two over. Whew. Okay, let's put this into place over here now. And now, kind of like I was doing before, and to bring all this fondant up towards the top. And now working on one side. Oh man, that was a little heavier than I expected it to be. We're going to now pull all this fondant up towards the top. I need a turntable under this. I'm like, why won't it turn? All right, put a turntable underneath here. Okay, and just like we were doing before, except now we're moving towards the top instead of towards the bottom. Look at all that fondant stuck into my nail. We're just gonna keep working our way around. Any wrinkle that you find, just kind of work it as smooth as possible. Now if it's okay if it doesn't look perfectly smooth up here, we are actually going to cover this with a lip. This is kind of what you get with a round cake. It's just a little bit more of a challenge, but you can see that my fondant's already starting to dry up here. So I'm getting some like elephant skin. Kind of work your warm, shortening covered hands a little bit into this. Go. Keep going around. Which brand of fondant do I prefer? That's a great question. I prefer Satin Ice. I feel like they do a great job getting a nice smooth finish to your fondant. I feel like it's a lot easier to work with than some of the other brands. I feel like it's nice and strong too, so it works with a lot of different applications, where I feel like marshmallow fondant is just a little bit too soft. I can always tell looking at somebody's cake if they've used marshmallow fondant or not. which I don't want people to tell. I don't want people to look at my cake and go, oh, she used marshmallow fondant. Look how kind of soft and droopy that is. But just personal preference. That's just my opinion. Everybody kind of has their own opinion, their own preference on brands and styles. I know a cake decorator who mixes a really dry brand of fondant. It's kind of known for being super dry with marshmallow fondant, and she likes that effect. And I feel like this is that without taking the time to make the marshmallow fondant and mixing it in with the dry fondant and spending the money and all that stuff. I also get asked a lot if I make my own fondant, and by the time, to really make authentic fondant, the supplies are actually quite expensive. And by the time you buy the expensive supplies and then make it, honestly, it's costs the same to just buy a really good quality fondant. And then I don't have to take that extra step of that time of making it. So, all right, I have a problem. So I'm going to show you what I do when kind of all else fails. So when I flipped it over, I got a tear in my fondant over here on this one side. So I'm going to make sure everything else is smooth up to this one side over here. So there we go. All right, so I ended up getting a tear over here. So what I ended up doing is moving all the fondant from this side and this side kind of over into this section. And I don't love doing this, but this is the best solution when you have had something like this happen. So I'm bringing it together as much as possible, and then I'm going to cut as fairly close to the cake. I did this when I was making Tamatoa's head on the back side of his head. So now I have this hole, in my fondant, which I don't love. I'm going to press those two fresh cut edges together that I just made. Man, we're getting some nice elephant skin of dried fondant over here. Took too long. It's amazing how much longer it takes to do this when you're trying to explain the steps versus just like getting in there and doing it. So, all right, so I've added a little bit of shortening to my hand, and I'm just going to start this process of kind of kneading that together. See if I can get some of this elephant skin to kind of smooth into itself and go away. We do not like that. One of the best things to work with actually that goes into itself really well, that cuts really well and then gives you a nice finish, is actually modeling chocolate. So it's made with chocolate, and it's a lot like fondant, but you use like the candy melts to make it, and corn syrup. And that is the one thing that I will make versus buy. I will take the time to make that. All right, so not perfect, not bad. Now we have a back to our cake. There's always a back to every cake. Something always goes wrong, at least for me. Always a back to my cake. All right, so I'm gonna finish smoothing this out, and then we're gonna cut off the excess. There you go. I pay my children in fondant because it's like their favorite food. Oh, do not get it. I do not get it. Here, stand right here and tell people why you like the taste of fondant. Please. Please explain.
It tastes good, I guess. And you can play with it because it's kind of like Play-Doh but edible.
Okay.
And
So you like being able to play with your food is what you're saying?
no, I just like being able to play with.
Here, nobody can see you. Step over a little bit so that it doesn't look like I'm talking to this. There we go. So you like fondant because it's like Play-Doh, so you can play with it before eating it?
Yeah,
Yeah?
that's one of the reasons.
Okay,
And
what about taste?
it just tastes really good. I like sweet stuff, and it's kind of
sweet.
It's kind of, well, not, I wouldn't actually say sweet, but it tastes good, I guess. Tastes
Alright.
Tastes like fondant.
Tastes like fondant. Well, yeah, it does taste like fondant. Okay.
I don't know how to explain the taste. It just tastes good.
Okay. All right, so now it looks like a purse, right? I have all this extra fondant up here on top, so now I'm going to cut it down to where the top of the cake is. Hold on. I'm gonna get my big knife back out that we used earlier, which means I gotta clean it and dry it real fast so we don't get cake crumbs on anything.
There's a knife in the drying rack, you know?
I know, but not big like this one. All right, again, I'm right-handed, so I'm gonna cut over here on this other side. Let's move this out of the way. Oh, that's heavy. Okay, so I'm gonna start it like right here, because this is our black cauldron, right? So it's gonna be right about there, and I'm gonna cut all the way around. So let's do the top view. Ooh, wrong view. Do the top view so you can see that. Okay, as I cut. Ooh, and I just grabbed the blade, the very, very sharp blade. Big no-no. Learn how to use a knife. Don't grab the blade. Okay. So just like as if we were cutting a cake, I decide where I want this. First time around, I'm just going to hold the knife in place and let the turntable do that work for me, holding the knife as level as possible. Now, if you've cut it right, it will join in. Here, let's show you on this side over here. Can you see the knife marks over here and the knife mark over here? So I've held it nice and even, so they're going to match up. And once you're sure that it's matched up, you can now start cutting a little bit deeper. And same thing, let that turntable do the work for you. Just go a little bit at a time. Don't be in a rush. You can always cut more, you can't cut less. That's always my advice when it comes to cutting a cake. And once you feel like you've got it going, you can go a little bit deeper and a little bit faster. Almost through the center. So this is one of the reasons I didn't cut very much cake that first cut at the very beginning, is because I knew I'd want it lower, but I didn't want to cut too much. So, and this way it also gave me some room to work with. Check that out. Over here on the side, see, almost all those wrinkles are completely gone now by being able to decide kind of, I gave myself extra height, so when it was upside down and the other way, a lot of those wrinkles were kind of in there. So, the base of our, it looks like I'm not centered on my pan. Oh, maybe it's just that this isn't centered. All right, so now we are ready for kind of the final details of this whole thing. So the first thing that we're gonna do is to take some more fondant, and we're gonna make a big tube and wrap it around here, kind of a big snake. That's what my kids call those tubes, right? Snakes, like with Play-Doh, a Play-Doh snake. Put that out of the way a little bit.
Can you have this?
Yes, you can. Clean up again. Anytime that there's ganache or chocolate or crumbs, just clean it. You will regret it if you don't. So it's worth taking the time to just constantly be cleaning. All right, so I have, I'm going to take some of this. Thank you. Grabbing some of the extra fondant from off the top that didn't touch cake or ganache. We're going to knead it back into itself. Use shortening on your hands again. And now I took my fondant mat away, so I'm going to add some shortening to my countertop really fast, because what you don't want to do is make the perfect snake and have it stick to your counter, because your counter hasn't been covered in shortening. What are you doing? So look, she took the top of the cake. Check this out. It's like just a thin layer of cake and all this fondant, and she's like totally going to town and eating it. I don't understand that. I just don't understand that. Okay. Let's switch cameras. So now I have fondant. I'm gonna roll it into a snake. So I almost never have my nails polish painted, and my girlfriend Jill came over and did my nails, and then I broke this one, and I won't show you because I don't want to flip you off. But as I was opening the fondant thing, it just ripped it all the way down to the quick, and it hurt so bad. And that's why I don't bother with nail polish. I was going on a work trip, and I wanted to look nice, and I should just know better. I should just not try to look fashionable and pretty. I should just accept the fact that I have fondant and frosting on my jeans 99% of the time, and that my nails will always be filled in with fondant and stuff. I should just have short nails, never deal with it. All right. So now we want to add this this snake that I've made back to the top edge of the cake. So there's a couple different ways to do that. One, you can just add it directly and set it like on the top, right? So it's resting on the top, or you can attach it to the outside. All right, where did I say the back? Okay, I found the back of my cake where I had that line. So I'm going to start with the fondant in the front. And yeah, so we're going to put this here just to see what we think before we move on. So there it is, kind of resting on the top. Or we can bring it down to the sides and have it be a little bit lower and a little bit wider. I think I like that a little bit better. What do you guys think? How do you keep a classic vanilla cake recipe from being bland? I've used 2 different recipes, never fully happy with them. Well, that's a good question. Hold on one second. I'm grabbing something. Yep, those are my legs that just walked by. When I was setting up, I forgot one thing that I needed. All right, hold on. Let me plug my microphone back in. All right. There we go. So, to attach fondant to fondant, you don't want to use water because water will actually make the fondant slimy, and then anything you attach will just drip off, and that water will kind of leave lines and marks in the fondant, not very pretty. So I recommend using, I'm trying to remember what people call it. There's like a nice way of saying it so it doesn't sound like alcohol, but basically alcohol. And what that does is it eats, as it evaporates off the fondant, it eats away a little bit of the fondant and leaves it tacky. And by doing that to both sides, the fondant that you're sticking and this fondant, they like stick together like glue. It's amazing. It will completely evaporate. It's great to go. Man, other cake decorators call it something like uber fancy. So it took me a while to figure out what they were saying. Like clear spirits? I'm not quite sure what that, what they're trying to say. You can use clear vanilla. You can use almond extract. Almond extract is actually like 99% alcohol, so that works great. For me, I just bought a super small bottle of vodka, low shelf, super cheap, works great. I've had this bottle for 13 years now. That's how little it takes. And like I said, it just kind of evaporates into the air and leaves it gone. So for all of those of you complaining, there's more vanilla, there's more alcohol in your chocolate chip cookies because of vanilla than there is going to be on this cake. Just saying. All right, so I've kind of pushed this back up onto the top, and I'm going to quickly just paint along this edge with this. And you don't want to get too much on. You don't want any drips. You just want a really thin layer, because that's, and then we're going to let it sit for just a minute so it can kind of do the evaporation can do its job. And then it'll be ready to attach, and it will hold really, really well. All right, so back to your question, vanilla cake. For me, like people who like vanilla ice cream and vanilla cake, I kind of don't understand. I'm like, what's the point? Pick a flavor. Caramel, graham cracker. There's so many flavors in the world. Pick a flavor. But if you really, really, really like vanilla, I recommend doing vanilla bean. I recommend doing like some vanilla bean paste in addition to whatever vanilla you're adding to the cake, or using a whole vanilla pod and putting that in into your cake recipe. It'll give you a lot more vanilla-y flavor. Okay, we're gonna work our way around to the back, attaching this. Okay, I'm videoing. All right, so now we're to the back. I'm gonna take a sharp knife and cut through the tube without squishing the tube. So you want to cut through it with those sawing motions so you don't accidentally like just squish the tube flat. All right. And then kind of make sure it's where you want it as we come around the other side, and then mark where we're going to cut that so that they'll match up nicely. Sawing motions. Use a little bit of that same clear alcohol on the end and then attach them together. Again, every cake has a back, and we just found the back of this cake. Okay, there we go. So that's our front. Nice. All right, so next we need to add our cauldron handles. So I'm going to go back and take this this fondant right here, and I'm actually going to be pushing it through my extruder. Hold on, let me find an extruder. It was literally right in front of me. It would have bitten me if it was a snake, and I'm like looking everywhere for it. It's right here. All right, this is a clay extruder, but it has never ever been used on clay. You want to keep things food safe. If you want to have an extruder for clay as well, buy a second one. They're not that expensive. But in order to put the fondant through the extruder, you need to soften it. So I'm going to take some of this fondant and a little bit of shortening, and I'm going to work them into each other until it's much, much, much softer than the actual fondant. You wouldn't want to do this obviously for fondant you're doing all over a cake. Just as much as adding that cornstarch powdered sugar while you're rolling out will dry it out, adding too much shortening will soften it. So you want to be careful, add a little bit at a time. You can always add more shortening. And if you go too soft, you can always add in some more fondant. All right, so this is now super soft and pliable. Oh, trying to change camera angles. So this is now super uber soft, so it'll be able to squeeze through that really nicely. So this is kind of what we're looking for. Perfect. So I'm going to pick a circle for my extruder. These are going to be our rings on the side. So I think that's a good width. So open up the extruder and unscrew it from this back side, and that's going to bring that down. That's how that works, in case you didn't know. So I'm just really quickly doing this. You guys are really quiet today. I'm used to having a lot more. Michelle, happy St. Patrick's Day from Georgia. Thank you. Edible lace. Yes, I have made edible lace. That's a good question. Okay, Shane, another answer to the vanilla question, how do I keep vanilla cake from being bland, is use different fillings, right? You have fun experimenting with all the flavors that you're putting inside of the cake, whether it's the mousse filling or just a buttercream or whatever you're doing. Have fun that way. I don't love vanilla anyway. So I'm probably the worst one to ask for that, because I'll make it a caramel cake. I'll add caramel into my vanilla, or I'll make it a peanut butter cake, or or lemon, or I'll do something with it. I'm all about flavors. But I haven't put my vanilla cake recipe up yet. When I do, try my vanilla cake. Let me know what you think. I not only use vanilla, but I also use vanilla bean paste or vanilla sugar to add to that depth of flavor. So this is now hollow. I have a little fondant snake. We're going to shove that in there. Put the ring that you've chosen on top and screw it back in place. And I know this is all super simple and you're probably going, oh my word, don't talk to me like I'm a 5-year-old, but I have to do it anyway, so I might as well talk through it. And then extrude away. And it always pushes a lot of air out at first, so it always feels like you're going halfway through before it starts actually like pushing out anything. This is definitely a workout. I'd love one of the kinds that has like just a gun, but I haven't found one. Oh, see, we're starting now. I haven't found one that's works really well. So tip for using extruder with fondant, once the fondant starts coming out, keep it nice and steady pace. Also, don't hold it way above like this. Actually get down close to your surface so that it doesn't actually stretch while it's coming out of the extruder. Also, oh, and that camera is off. Lovely. You gotta love when you get near the end of the video shoot and all your cameras go off. All right, so also hold it close to the surface and just go nice and steady. The other thing you don't want to do is what I just did, and that is stop while you're extruding, because that will actually leave like a little indent or line. So just keep going all the way till you're completely done. Remember, if you're doing like a really thin circle, don't fill the whole tube up, because it will take forever to get it out of a really thin circle. So you can see where I kind of took the break or pause to talk for a little bit. There's a line right there. Luckily, it's about halfway through, so it won't be too big of a deal. So I'm gonna, since my other camera went off, trying to do everything on this side camera. So I'm gonna fold it in half and give it a cut. And then I'm gonna turn this into a ring and see if I like that size next to the size of my cake. So let's see if we like this right here. I feel like maybe it's just a little bit big. So I'm gonna cut it down just a little bit shorter and cut the other one at the same time. So I have a nice clean cut on both ends. And by holding them next to each other, I know they're the same length, so they make the same size circle. Just like we did with the ring on top, I'm going to add just a little bit of that clear alcohol to those fresh ends, and fresh ends stick to each other a lot better. So so I always recommend cutting both sides when you're going to be sticking something together. There we go. Now, if we had made these at the beginning before we did everything else, they would probably be partially dry right now, and we'd be able to pick them up and put them on the cake a little bit easier. But since I didn't, we're going to do that now. So holding the cake so that the back is right in front of me, I'm going to mark my two sides with my sharp pen. All right, to where I want the handles. I think I want them right about here. So I'm on both sides. I'm going to mark pin here and pin here. Okay. Take that clear vanilla again, or whatever you're using, clear spirits, baking alcohol, I don't know. And just paint one side of both of them. Make sure again not to use so much that it drips. You do not want dripping. You just want it to kind of evaporate and eat away at that fondant. Ryan, hi! Kim, I'm so glad that you feel like you're learning a lot. This is a really simple cake that's taken me way longer than I thought it would. So grab the ring, your first ring, and trying to keep it in a circular shape as you can. Oh, you know what? Nope, don't do that, don't do that. Leave it down, leave it down. I forgot something. This is what happens when you don't look at your notes. You forget stuff. All right, taking some of our excess fondant again, kneading it a little bit. Totally forgot, the rings don't just attach themselves to the pot. You have to have like a little tab that's gonna hold a little, you like how I use my hands for everything, a little tab that's gonna hold on to the rings in place. So we're gonna take this. Oh, I just dented my cake. Oh, poor little cake. I'm sorry. All right, we're gonna take some fondant, take the rolling pin without hitting your cake, preferably. Roll it out just a little bit. Oh, there we go. All right. Try to keep it as even as possible. When you're working with little amounts of fondant like this, it's super easy to get uneven. Oh, look, my paintbrush is flaking off. I'm like, what is all this blue? I figured out is that my paintbrush flaking. All right, we do want this semi-thin. There we go. Okay. And then I like using a pizza cutter. We're going to create the tab that's going to hold into place. All right, I'm gonna cut this in half and see if I like that folded. It's gonna fold like that. Yep, I think that's gonna be a good length. So going back to our rings. So take our tab, paint it with a little bit more. And this one. All right, I'm gonna kind of turn this a little bit, see if we can get a little bit closer to what I'm actually doing for you. Okay. Since we lost my top camera. All right, so I'm going to move this ring over here and move this ring over here. Okay, I'm going to take the bottom of this and pull it up and over and match it on the other side. Press it into place. And same thing over here. Pull it up and over and match it into place. And I'm going to take this, some of this we rolled out. I was going to use the top of a round tip, but I think that's a little bit big. I need to grab a different one, of course. Ah, you gotta love it when, of course, the thing that you're missing is way on the other side of the room. But it's the little details that make a huge difference. So here we go. Here's this tip, and I'm going to take some extra fondant and cut out 2 little things of fondant. Where'd it go? Oh, it's underneath. I'm like, oh, I can't find it. There we go. Now, if anybody here has done welding and works with this, what is this called? This part that like kind of holds it together. Anybody know? Because I do not. I was going to look it up before I started, and then I got distracted by the snowstorm and running to the store for the black fondant. So we're going to add those. It's little details like this that really make a difference in a cake, in my opinion, and is worth doing. Okay, so now we have our rings. Oh, I put the buttons on the wrong side. There we go. Now we have our rings. Put the button on this side, because we don't want it on this side that we've already put the alcohol on, right? All right, so now we're going to attach these to the sides of our cake. Oh, we're getting so close to being done. So exciting. All right, grab the other one and move the button. What would that be called? That like pieces that's holding the welding into place. All right, anybody knows? Tell me. Well, not the hinge is like, yes, this is the hinge, but I mean specifically the little button. That's the part that I was going to look up. That button part itself. I don't know what it is. Okay, so bring our cake back over and let's go out so you can see it again. So previously we marked down where we wanted these. Over. I'm gonna go right back there because then we know that they'll be in the place that I wanted them to be. Let's see. Here's one of my marks. And here's one of my marks. Perfect. I can still see them. Every once in a while, it's such a small dot that I'll be like, I don't know where it went. So I'm going to add this one right here. And we want to make sure, as we add it, that it's still round, because it's easy for these to obviously not be round, kind of get a little misshapen. There we go. Oh, it's looking so good. Go back to the other side. And attach this one. Let me see how low I went below. There we go. Make sure it's nice and circle shaped. Put that into place. Oh, it looks so good. Ah, okay. You guys, my kitchen is out of control. As I like push things aside because I don't need them anymore, it just kind of builds and builds and becomes this like pile. I should take care of things a little bit better, but like I'm just kind of trying to get it out of the way really fast. Like my mat's getting all wrinkled. Roll that up. So, all right, and I have, if you're on YouTube, which of course you are because Facebook's not working, I have a links down below to like all the supplies, or at least all the ones that I could think of off the top of my head. If there's one missing, let me know. So we're gonna lower this so you can kind of see the side of the cake a little bit better. Okay. How's that? You see that a little bit better? Now that you're not looking at it at a wonky angle, you can kind of see that over here it's a little bit lifted maybe. Over here it needs to come up a little bit more. Make sure that's even. Okay, so now we need our gold. You can't have a pot of gold without gold. So there's a couple options. You can obviously make a bunch of gold from scratch and then paint it with edible gold paint. Or my kids just really love these chocolate gold coins. So that's what I'm gonna do. Now we don't wanna leave this cake sitting out raw like this. Obviously, that's going to dry out the cake. So we're gonna go back to the ganache that we have from earlier. And I'm going to do a thin layer of ganache. Now instead of using my big huge frosting spatula like we used earlier, I'm actually going to get out a little small one so I can get inside here and be detailed without making a mess. Okay. And just do a really thin layer and go all the way to the edge. Now you obviously we could have done this before, but like, you know, if you've been watching, you saw that I did this final cut after the fondant so that I could really kind of determine once the cake was flipped over how wide mouth I wanted my cauldron to be. So that's why we're doing this now. And then I have a piping bag and I'm going to add some ganache into the piping bag. And I'm going to fill it with some ganache. And that way we'll be able to stick all the coins onto the cake and together really easily. So chocolate connected by chocolate. And this is really where you can have a lot of fun because you can put this however you want. And I also found, look how fun these are, these milk chocolate bars. Aren't they, or these chocolate bars that say Fort Knox on them. So I'm going to see if they'll fit around as well. I found some at the store. I found some super big coins, like this big, and I'm just kicking myself that I didn't buy them. So sad. All right, now we have this camera working again. Yay! Let's get on in here and decorate this. So I'm gonna start, I think I'm gonna start at the edge. That's what I'm gonna do. And work my way around. And these are those things at this time of year you can pretty much pick up anywhere. If for some reason you are making a pot of gold cake, not at this time of year, I don't know why you would, but just in case, they sell them of course online on Amazon and stuff like that. All right, so now we don't just want to put a bunch of ganache right here on top because then we might put too much on or something might get covered. So I'm actually going to just add a little bit of ganache to the coins as I add them so that it won't stick out. But we do want to cover all the ganache. So now I'm going to go in between all these. In fact, I think I'm going to cut my hole a little bigger because it takes a little too much work to get through. There we go. So, and just put these around. If this wasn't a live video, this is where the time lapse would be, where like the music would get loud and play and it would really quickly fill this up really fast, right? All right, but we don't have that. So you get me talking. Rivet! Oh, thank you guys. That's what this is called, a rivet. I knew you would be smart enough to tell me. I knew somebody would know what that was. Hey, Scarlet, baby girl, this is the perfect thing to help me with. You want to come help me with this?
What?
I could really use some help adding all the gold to the top of this.
Hey, I love gold.
Here, all right, so I'll put some ganache on here, and then you could put it on top. Right now, I'm kind of going around the circle. Why?
But it doesn't look like...
Well, we haven't done the middle yet.
I know, but shouldn't it be more... Not that
organized? That's a good point. We just want to make sure that the fondant all gets covered, and once that's done, then you can kind of have a little bit more fun with it. So I'm making sure that it's pushed all the way to the edge, so it's covering all that. There you go. Now, then you can have a little bit more fun. So we just want to quickly make sure that we're getting all the chocolate covered, so it looks like it's filled with, you know, with gold. Okay. All right. So now we've got most of it all covered except for that very center spot. See how you can see in the TV screen? We kind of have a ring. So let's go like right here now, this middle ring. Can you help me do that? There you go.
You mean like right here and such?
Yeah. Once we get it so we don't see any more chocolate, then we can kind of just toss them around at various places. All right. How is it looking, baby girl?
I think it looks delicious.
Delicious. Oh, I'm so glad you think so. Oh, did I get some on your hand? I wasn't paying attention as I was squeezing it on.
A little bit.
All right. Maybe you put that one in an angle. Okay, where do you want to put that one?
In the middle?
Right in the middle? Sounds good. Okay, now where do you think we need them?
Okay. I think we should put one right there.
Okay. You know what? I also have these. All right, any suggestions for what we should do with these? Maybe I cut them in half and stick them sticking out. Hold on.
I have a suggestion.
Okay. So it's just straight chocolate
from Fort Knox.
from Fort Knox. So I'm thinking we want to have some of this sticking out somewhere. What do you think?
Sure. I also have another suggestion.
You do? What's your suggestion?
Eat them.
To eat them?
Yeah.
I think that's a great suggestion. Stick that
You
there.
gonna eat this?
Am I going to eat it?
No, this.
Oh, wrong one. Let's stick that there. There. Now you guys can see from the side. All right, what do you guys think? Do you like having something sticking out like that? Should I do more of those? Yeah.
Let's look at the comments.
You will look at the comments. Thanks. I'm glad that you think it's a fun cake. Grommets are hollow and rivets are... Oh, you guys, you're so smart. Thanks for searching that and figuring it out for me. I knew you'd have the answers. All right, so what are you guys thinking now? What does this cake, where do we need more? What does it need more of?
I think the gold should be more sloppy, like
More
not less
sloppy?
organized.
Okay.
As it would probably appear at the end of the wing. This won't
You think at
stick.
the end of a rainbow, the gold will be sloppier?
Yeah, well, not like this organized,
Yeah.
but like more at angles, like that one.
Like that one?
That one, like that.
Okay. All right, let's see. Where should this one go? Maybe back here? Kind of trying to get these underneath. There we go. How's that? All right.
Why shouldn't we try showing this side?
Whichever side you want. You think there's too many faces?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. All right. I think that maybe they're not sticking very good, but that's going to be okay. Oh, good. Good idea to turn it like that. Just try not to get a chocolate fingerprint on top.
Why did I do that on accident?
Well, it might have been me. I just saw a chocolate fingerprint and made me think of it. It's probably me. I probably have chocolate all over my hands. All right, what are we thinking? How's it look? Last one, baby girl. Put it on.
Okay.
Where do you think it goes?
Maybe right there. I was thinking... Yeah, there.
Right there? Okay. All right, so let's get the full effect now.
That looks more...
I have another air bubble right there.
Another air bubble? Can I pop it this time?
Come at it right from an angle.
Okay.
But come at it down here, okay?
Wait. Is that it?
Yep, that's it.
Can I try?
You got it?
I think I found another one.
You
Wait.
did?
Wait, no, that
Sure it's not
probably
the same
just
one?
Found it. I'm just gonna...
Trying to remelt that ganache underneath to hold it in place. All right, there we go. Okay. Oh, leave it alone. Leave it alone.
No, but I can still kind of like...
Okay. How's that?
Better.
Is that better? Okay.
Yep, better.
All right. Feels like we're a little bit crooked. Let's try to straighten this out a little bit. And it's done. What does everybody think? June, it's working on Facebook. That's so good to know. Jill, I totally mentioned you earlier when I talked about my nails and my broken nail. See my sad broken nail? So sad. I'm glad that Facebook finally started working. Hello from Allentown. All right, Olimar, nice. Thank you so much. This looks awesome. Thanks, Ashley. Great job. Thank you, Scarlett, for being an awesome assistant and decorating the very end, because let's face it, the end is really the most important part, right? Mm-hmm. What do you think? So the big question now is, do I eat it today or tonight or right now? What do you think? Do we want to cut it open and see that cheesecake center?
Nah, I want to save it.
You want to save it? All right.
For tomorrow.
So probably one of the comments that I get the most is, it's too pretty to cut. I can't believe you cut it. All that hard work, you cut it. Well, this is the reality of my life. I finish a cake like we just did, right?
And then we eat it.
And we immediately cut it. Tamatoa took me 7 days to make, and we cut into it 2 seconds after it was finished. I took pictures and that was it. So yeah, this is the reality.
Can I eat some gold?
Not right now.
Oh.
Because we're gonna eat some of this gold, okay? So,
Oh.
get the big knife out and we're gonna cut into this and check out the center. Now this is actually, I have this cake on my site already. This is actually much bigger than the first time I made it. I just figured it would be easier to see bigger than smaller, and I tend to go overboard and do things big, so that's kind of on me. All right, big knife, big knife. There we go. Big knife. All right, now another question I get is, how do you cut that? So this is my tips for how to cut this. So these gold coins should all be stuck together. I don't know that we really did the best job in the world, so I think we're gonna get some cascading coins, which is fine. But obviously you can't cut directly through the coins. So when you have a cake that has a bunch of stuff on top, like the peanut butter cake I made a couple weeks ago, and this one that you can't cut through, what I do, excuse me, baby girl, I'm gonna start at the back. What I do is I actually come in underneath all that stuff, and I'm gonna push through, but still sticking like to the top of the cake, all the way to the center, and then cut down.
I can't see Mom. Okay, now I'm ready. What did I miss?
Right.
What did I miss?
So then that's the first cake. Now, if you're really OCD like me, you don't want to just keep cutting with the knife with crumbs all over it, so I wipe it down real fast. I keep a nice warm rag right next to me as I work, just for this. So do the same thing again. You okay?
Yeah, just swallow some water.
So come in at the top, kind of come in underneath the coins, push my way over to the center. Once I'm deep enough, cut down. All right. And now we have our slice. Now the fun part, of course, is pulling it out. Because down here where a round cake is touching the base, it's actually very thin. It tends to like kind of fall apart like a sliced apple. If I cut it, there we go. All right. So chocolate cake with a cheesecake filling. No crust cheesecake. How good does that look? And apparently we glued these together good enough. They're kind of like floating there. Well, that's it.
Can we see that slice for Lindy? I told her I'll save a slice.
We will save a slice for your neighbor friend. The other question is, how do you eat it? Now you can be all elegant and put it on a plate and use a fork, or you can watermelon it, which is what I tend to do. What do you think? You want a bite?
Sure. I'm just eating the
She's
coin.
still eating all that fondant.
No, I'm eating the coin.
You gotta come in the video if you want a bite, though. What do you think? Do you like that cheesecake center?
I mean, it tastes good, but I don't think it blends in too much with the
It tastes good,
chocolate.
but it blends in too much with the chocolate. Well,
No, it doesn't blend well with the chocolate. I mean, when you say blend, it doesn't taste well with the chocolate.
you don't like cheesecake and chocolate together? That's the saddest thing I think I've ever heard. I love this cake. It's so moist. All right. I know some people find it gross to look at bites, but look at how moist and soft this cake is. It's just so good, so dense, so dark. And I am a little bit obsessed with cooking cheesecakes perfectly. I know my white bounces off, so it just looks like a glowing white mass, but a perfect cheesecake will be nice and soft too, and not like thick and awful and hard. My biggest pet peeve is people overcooking cheesecakes. All right, that's it. It's been a long time since I've live streamed. I haven't seen everybody in a month, so I'm so glad I can do it again. I hope you all are having amazing St. Patrick's Day. Don't forget to wear green so you don't get pinched if you're going out in public. Let me know if you make this cake, obviously not this year, but next year. Tag me in social media, ASHLEE MARIE Cakes, so that I can see it and glory in it and in your awesomeness. And don't forget in the comments to let me know if there is a cake or a recipe you'd like me to see me do here live. My goal is to go live once a week. Next week. Next 2 weeks, and then I'm gonna be in Paris taking cooking classes, and I'm so excited, and I can't wait to come back and share some of the stuff that I learned with you there. But we'll probably miss another week, and then after that I'm not going on vacation again till summer. So my goal is to do lives once a week. Let me know if you want to see more recipes or if you like the cakes. I'm thinking about doing 4:30 Mountain Time on Wednesdays and seeing how that goes. And then as a backup plan, doing the weekend if for some reason Wednesday doesn't work out. So hope you guys enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. Facebook, I'm so sorry that things aren't working over on that end. I don't know, there's not like, complain to Mark Zuckerberg. They've been messing with video, and apparently today I was yet another casualty of it. And then yeah, just subscribe on YouTube so that you can watch it over there and you don't miss it. So thank you so much for watching. Be on the lookout for my new logo, which will be premiering soon. Let me know what you think. Yeah, that's kind of it. Hope you guys all have a wonderful weekend and a happy holiday. Check one more minute and see if there's any comments that I should respond to. June, Annabelle, Jasmine, it's Megan. Hi Megan. Megan used to be my roommate. So good to see you guys. Brenda, you happen to come up on the feed. It's nearly over and you didn't see the notifications. Brenda, I'm so sorry. I scheduled it earlier today. I don't understand YouTube notifications. If you're on YouTube, maybe try going to my page and clicking the notification bell. That might work out a little bit better. But yeah, and then of course rewatch the live so you get it all. Star, it looks great. Thank you, Kim. Wow, great job. Thank you. Candy Cakes, we missed you. I'm so sorry that you missed it. But go spend the rest of your weekend and the rest of your evening with your family. Yeah, so from me to you guys, happy St. Patrick's Day, and I'll talk to you guys later. And now we get like the 5 minutes it takes to turn everything off. It's not, awkward at all. So yeah, have a good day.